So, let's talk about energy. You may feel different energies around you when you're in different places, and it be energy that you don't like. That means not to be in that energy. Get yourself out the energy. That could be a protection trying to warn you that that's not a place you should be at. One. Like, for instance, I was in this lady house and my daughter was there with the guy who lived there. They left me and the energy changed in the room to the point that I ain't gonna lie, I was uncomfortable being there. The only reason why I stayed there, you stayed, yeah, was because I knew my daughter was going bad, and I knew it was people there that would protect me. Like the men that was around, I knew they would protect me. You know, so I didn't leave. I stayed there and waited for my daughter to come back. You know, but the person, like it was a mom there with me, who house it was, right? At first, when my daughter was there, she was like, "Oh, let me sit with you," and like she, like I guess wanted to talk or whatever, like have a little conversation. I sit with you since you're the mom here, this and third, right? So she she moved across the room and was sitting with her children, instead with me. I think after my daughter left, that's true. But she didn't move. I didn't even know she moved. She didn't just say, "Oh, I'll be back." One for my children, anything. She just moved across the room. So I'm like, okay. But one thing that got me was they kept wanting me to drink. "Oh, you're not drinking? You're not drinking? You're not drinking?" Like, I had a drink, but I didn't feel the need in me to be drinking, a lot. So I didn't drink a lot. And then it was like this time we were smoking. And how we were smoking, I was peeping. Like, it was weird. If we all smoking together, you used to sit together. You want. They was like on one side in a way, we're on the other side. So it was like the awkwardness of like, number one, I don't know who the blank go to. Number two, like I just broke it though, because I peeped that I was told it was theirs. So I peeped or whatever, and like, okay, and I said something to break the tension I did feel at one point, because of course if it's theirs and they feel like y'all smoking up their stuff, then they could get attitudes about it. You won. But ain't nobody like y'all gonna pass or nothing like that. Oh, that's what shit. Okay. You won. So, but I end up breaking the tension by making sure things went right with the cipher. Yeah. Yeah. So after that, come to find out, the mom, then like the son we was with, mind you, I've been around this kid a lot, so I didn't find no problems with this kid. When I tell you I've been around him, I've been around him, sat around him every day, didn't find no problems. Never even heard him raise his voice at anybody the whole time we was around each other. Another thing, when you feel different energies around you, it could be your loved ones that passed on around you. Some people don't pick up when they hear noises and stuff. That it could be your loved one trying to get your attention, and they're dropping things or hitting something or just making some type of noise or doing something. Like my cabinet came open one time by itself. We were in my room, and the kitchen cabinet came open by itself, and I knew it was a spirit, and I thought to me it was my grandfather. He was. And then, like, when my son was sleeping, he would sleep in the area by himself, and he would sit up and he would play around like he was playing with somebody. So to me, that was my grandfather getting his attention. It was. Say you are. I went when we moved. When we went to the house. We cleaned the house up. So after me, my cousin, my children cleaned this house up, it was like it was chill energy, but I was still getting like things of like my grandfather was upset because it took us to come to this house, which was his house that he lived in also before he passed over. It took us to come to the house that cleaned this house up, and it's been adults in this house that's not cleaning up. So he wanted her to clean up, right? So I'm in the living room. I don't hear shit. You ever hear Ace pop before? You want? I heard that before when I was younger, and I didn't hear nothing. I go in the kitchen, right, and is eggs pop all over the walls and stuff in the kitchen. So the elder in the house who was not cleaning up, it was actually her food that was over the walls and stuff. And his thing was he wanted her to clean up. So they made a mess for her to clean up. So guess what I did? Set my ass down and let her clean up. Smart, exactly. Like, I already know, like, he didn't want me in the house. He wanted me and my children out the house, away from that energy that was in the house. Because it was like a separate energy. It's like, they was cool with my older son, but the rest of us, it was like a not as cool thing, but they was trying to bring my older son down, one of the bulls or whatever. And this girl that I did end up beating up, my thing was I didn't want my son smoking marijuana. Now, I watched 60 Minutes when I was a child. Before medical cards came out was thought of anything. And I watched how they used to give their child marijuana to help their child with whatever was going on with them. And these are whitish looking people that was doing this. Oh shit. Yet, another thing that came to me, now you got the inner guides that guide you and stuff, which our inner spirit guides us. You want. And I used to do videos on YouTube, and I used to do it with my son around. Something came to me. Do not smoke marijuana with your baby around. Which means I was being watched. Oh shit. And who else you being watched by? But Child Protective Services. They still watch my stuff. And it was like they was watching for me to do something. So they could have a reason to take my child from me. Oh shit. So, I didn't smoke around my son on live. Even though marijuana is a herb. So if you get a good lawyer to beat that case, you can. Because marijuana is a herb. This is medical stuff. Why is it bad to smoke it around a baby? You want. With DHS did get involved in my life as the videos talked about. But their thing was, they didn't have nothing. They had one case somebody called and said that my son was eating at the church game. I fuck with this lady because something told me they was coming out there, right? So I stayed up waiting around for them. These motherfuckers never came. I fall asleep in the living room, wake up, they come. One, the energy, I felt some energy, but the lady came. She came in and she told me why she was there. She's like, oh, we got a call that your son, and she says his name, was eating out the trash can. I'm like, huh? What the fuck is she talking about? Who the fuck did this dumb shit? I'm thinking it's one of the neighbors on the block, but it's more so the new neighbors, not the old neighbors, didn't. Because the bull wanted to told me I wasn't giving no play, but it was. You weren't. I know. Ain't nobody never seen my son eat trash out the trash can. My son came downstairs. He looked well. She said, she's sending back upstairs. Like, we're not ever doing this kind of thing. And she left the case alone because she noticed it's bullshit. You want. So, energy work with you. You just have to tune into the energy around you. You want. Sometimes sit up and talk. Because sometimes you may not be able to rest. And you wonder why you can't rest? Your loved one could be sitting here trying to reach out to you, to talk to you, to give you a message that they miss you. And when you talk to them, they give them that connection back of a relationship, that y'all had in a way, because we had a relationship. Even when we talking like we had a relationship. So they might even be sitting there with you, watching TV with you. And you may feel the energy of comfort, but the energy of comfort is really your loved ones comforting. Then, the comfort energy. Or you might, let's see another way. You might get that thing, like you like, oh, son, tell me to call this person. Call them. Because it's a reason behind it, you want. So call them. Find out. Something like The funny thing was, before I got deep in my situation for DHS and stuff and 302s happened in my life, my neighbor came to me, and this is going to be a guide also, and said, you need to go to the shelter. Like, okay. So I go to the shelter, and I wait in the waiting place. And what happened is I was driving at the time, which was great because depending on how things go, I have a vehicle. One, because I know they have the shelters they'll let you go to, but it's for that day and you have to leave early. So I have my vehicle and I could drop my children where we needed to go to. So I go there and they took all day long to call me that my meter expired, that I didn't have no more money for the meter to wait. Now I ain't gonna lie, I felt some energy then too, and I felt like it was like kind of a fight, like go because you don't want to get a ticket, but it was also a stay energy, and my thing was I ain't trying to get no ticket, so let me go. But I did do what she said. Evidently, she knew something, and now I end up in the shelter later on, and sobbing on. Me and my children end up in the shelter anyway, but this is after they did a DHS and they did. It was certain things they are 302s and a DHS they already did and you run. So it was like, damn, we were trying to stop that from happening. So that's why we told you to go. And mind you, I would never imagine these people would do them type of attacks on me, but they did. I never did nothing to these people did in my life wrong towards them, and I know I did. They can't ever say anything I have done wrong to them. When I asked Lady why did she do it to me, she looked at me and rolled her eyes. Like, you wouldn't have threw it to me if my grandma was here. How you do it to me? Like, yeah, because you know the truth. Mind you, if Child Protective Services would have investigated my case properly, it wouldn't have been no case. But Child Protective Services is known to be sloppy and let children be in fucked up situations where they have died at and filled up. It was in the news. So they don't have a good report, which is my thing is, why did they keep allowing this to go on if it's already known that they don't do their job properly? That system should have been shut down in Philadelphia, or they should have had a new system come in that would do the job properly. Go back, look, Google it, you'll see it. They sat there and they was going to a house, and the same house they was going to, this child died of malnourished. They had the child locked in the room and stuff, and the child died of malnourished. And Child Protective Services was coming out there. So it's as if they was allowing the child to go through that situation without protecting that child as Child Protective Services was to do. Oh, we don't need Child Protective Services in Philadelphia if this is what they allow. But the kicker also was the lady, like, when Child Protective Services was in my life, they never said I couldn't have my children. She was trying to control the factor of me having my children. So when I was living somewhere else from my children, because she didn't want me to come back there, something, like, just wasn't, I wasn't feeling right with Finn without mine. So what I did was, I went to the house, got my children, and I left with them. And she called Child Protective Services on me when I did it. And you know what Child Protective Services did? Nothing. They called me up to see where I was taking the children. I'm going to the shelter. Okay, we just had to check it out. So it didn't go in her favor as she was trying to go because she wanted my children for money. And if I take them away, she's not getting that money that she wanted to get. And they didn't even place them in the care. She was just doing things ahead of time that she felt as though she could do because she felt as though she had people. Like this boy that I was staying with tried to tell me, you can't go, you got to call her before you go see your children. The fuck you talking about? Nigga, why the fuck I gotta call her before I go see my children? The fuck this is? But it was like, it was rules to it. You can't just go to that house. You gotta call her. I told her, I got a key. No, she actually stole my key. But nobody ever calls to go to this house. So why the fuck do I gotta call to go to this house? Like, what kind of conversation y'all been having? And when did you ever see this of me? It was like I was angry with him because it was seemed to me as if he was on her side of things. And I wasn't feeling it. So even though things wasn't bad over there, energy wise, of us being in the same room together in a way, it was like no arguing and stuff is what I mean. It was still not settled to me. I'm a mother. I've been a mother for over 20 years. How the fuck is it settling to go without your children after you've been a mother to these children? The oldest one is 22, and that's okay. It's not okay.